said $50,000. Are you unhappy with my contribution?
I'm paying you $50,000. That was a joke.
That was a clip from the current war in theaters this Friday, October 25th. A lot of good movies coming out. A lot of good movies. We got the star of this movie. Plays Thomas Edison in this movie. And it's a movie between electricity titans as they go to war. You know, but one of the reasons why I want to have this man on the show because I'm a fan of his work. And DB did 3 back flips when he found out he was coming.
3 black flips.
3 back flips.
He was 3 black flips. That's what he did. This man has a litany of just great work he's done. DB, run it down the line real quick. Go, boss.
I was just talking to him outside in the hallway, and I didn't get to tell him because I was talking to him about the current war. But when I first saw him in Star Trek Into Darkness, I hated him because I hated Khan. Not you personally, but I hated the Khan because they flipped the whole thing with Star Trek and Kirk dying and Spock living and all that stuff. So that was one movie. I mean, he started with his co-star Zoe Saldana, who would eventually be Gamora in the Avengers, and him playing Doctor Strange. It was one of my, out of all the Marvel independent films, it was one of my favorites, and I have to say that. And we've had so many of your co-stars here, and now you're in the current war. You've got a whole other ton of movies that are coming out that are in that sort of vein. But yes, Benedict Cumberbatch is here.
There it is, man. Damn, man.
Thank you very much.
I thought you was going to say his name bigger than that.
I already talked so much, I was about to do another black flip,
Listen, I'm made. Anyone doing black flips, that's pretty cool by me.
Hey, man, you've been doing this for a long time, and we just had Naomi Harris in here. You familiar with her?
I love Naomi. Yeah, we worked together. We did a stage play together, and we also did a brilliant piece by the late, great Andrea Levy called Small Island about the Windrush. And Naomi's a dear person.
She's
such
great,
a talented
right?
actress. Yeah, I love her. Absolutely love her.
And then the British court recognized her. She got an OBE, right?
Damn right she should as well.
She should have, right?
She's a fine actress, but she's also done outstanding work for charity as well. She's a good person. Sweet girl.
Sweet, right? So you've received an award too, right? Have you?
A CBE.
I got a CBE. Yeah.
What's the difference between the O and the C? He's got a CBE.
I'm a commander in the James Bond. No, not James Bond. No, it's a commander of the British Empire and order of the British Empire. Those are the differences. Beyond that, we'll have to consult the rule books. But basically, all is good if you get that kind of recognition. For what you do and hopefully how you carry yourself in public life, then that's a huge honor.
That's a huge honor?
Yeah, it is, I think, yeah.
Salute to you, man.
Thank you, dude.
All right, Benedict, I like
what
that.
we get here in the States? Nothing, just keep paying taxes.
I keep paying my taxes.
This
isn't a tax-free status being a CBE girl. I'm paying more than my share of taxes.
How much y'all pay over there? What y'all pay? Like 50%?
Oh, yeah, more. Yeah.
More than 50?
Yeah, upwards of that. Yeah, it depends what bracket you're in, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But we got a very good national health system.
See that part?
Okay.
That's good.
It's struggling. It's threadbare, and it's just alive and kicking, and it's under a lot of threat from privatization and God knows everything from Brexit and a talent drain, but also just the hours and the lack of funds and the burgeoning kind of aging population to care with, and yeah, it's difficult, but it's a fantastic enterprise.
You wouldn't have known.
Yeah, it keeps people alive. So I've got experience of that. So God bless the NHS.
Well, you're really interesting, man, Benedict. I mean, even added on to your acting prowess, I was reading up about you and heard you got abducted in Africa.
I did, yeah. I did.
What the hell?
Hear about this.
What happened, bro?
Well,
you clapping for that?
Hold on. He got abducted. His life was on the line, Mo.
I'm sorry, no. So I don't know quite what. Yeah, okay. Obviously not a fan.
We went from black flips to taxes to clapping at his.
This is the hot seat right here. Technical difficulties. It's a bit of baby crying or something weird. I don't know. Let's make this light and cheery on a Tuesday morning in New York. I was part of a group of 3 people. We went onto the N2 and tourist trunk road down the east coast of Africa and South Africa, not far from the Mozambique border, and tire blew. We tried to fix it. We got surrounded by these guys, forced back into the car, driven off road, tied up. I was put in the boot of the car at one point. I'd argue my way out, and I was basically kind of seen as the kid. I think the other 2 were the adults, and the kids are usually taken away as surety, and it doesn't end well. And your life is cheap in that big big country. So it was a pretty scary ordeal that lasted about 2 hours. It wasn't pleasant.
They just let you go free
After 2 hours, yeah.
with no explanation.
We didn't want to stick around for an explanation. They wanted our money, and we didn't have cash because we just paid for what we'd been doing in cash, and so that was something that probably prolonged the experience more than it should have been. They took our cards and had to get to bank machines to
You
get
can't.
what they were.
They didn't
after.
have no ATMs in that
They
area.
do, no, they do, absolutely they do. But it takes a little while to get them, and there was all confusion over PIN numbers and all that crap. So it was truly one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, and I was very lucky. It was a small event in a very big country. And the next day, a guy was blown away at a traffic light just for nothing. This guy had a 2 rand coin, which is worth nothing, and a lighter in his glove box. That was it. But the guy was trying to rob him, and it just escalated. And life is cheap in that country. So we were very, very lucky.
I would imagine that it just changed your outlook on life in general, how you approach
It did,
things.
yeah. It made me sort of fear. You can go one of two ways. You can get very sort of insular and distrusting. But the minute after it happened, we found this roadside cafe run by these women who were part of a Zulu cooperative that made beautiful art objects out of everything, whether it was reused material or new material, wood and clothing and what have you. And they were crying for us. They were ashamed. They said, this happens to us. We're poor people and they steal from us. They're bad people. We're so sorry this happened to you in our country. And the security guy sort of reached down to give me a cup of tea or something, and I looked into his face, and just the apology and the love, and just that's when I had my emotional reaction to it, to realize that there's good and there's bad and there's great good as well in that country, and the grace of those people and what they endure is probably the most humbling aspect of the whole ordeal, really. But it made me, I think, outward going and impatient to live a life less ordinary and kind of throw myself in danger's way under my own volition, rather than having a gun to my head and being put in a boot of a car. So I took flips and microlights. I jumped out of airplanes. I swam with great whites. I toured Namibia and South Africa on my own after that incident. I looked it all in the face. And
you didn't get scared.
No, man. I worshipped the sun. I cried when I felt it on my skin again the next morning. Had a beer and carried on with my life. And not without some help, but it made me impatient, and that's something I'm still working on, I think. But it's a big life experience.
Absolutely.
And that's the interview.
There it is. I'm glad you're here, Benedict. Benedict Cumberbatch is here, man. I'm glad you're here today.
Would you ever do a movie about that experience? I'm thinking about when Kim Kardashian got robbed, and I just heard that she's going to be doing a film around that.
I don't know, really. I don't know. Like I said, this was a small incident in a big country, and I don't know. I don't know what that would be about. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay. So we're talking about the current war. Let's get on the current war.
All right, got you.
Current war. These electricity titans. We all know Thomas Edison, and we know Westinghouse too, George Westinghouse too, and Nikola Tesla. And these guys were. This movie, The Current War, is really just kind of like a battle of first in a sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what I know the Thomas Edison story. Some of these things that are in the movie. I didn't realize, I didn't realize that he didn't want to use electricity to kill people. That was one of the things. He didn't want electricity to be used for that reason.
There's the sort of level the obsession to win gets to, the sort of dirty tricks campaign and the besmirching of an enemy's reputation by demonstrating so basically Thomas Edison is DC current, direct current. Westinghouse is AC, alternating current. Alternating current, if you touch any part of the circuit, is fatal. You complete the circuit and you can die, depending how strong it is. Yeah. This is all right. Everything is converted back in this room to DC current, so you're safe. But still, it'll give you a shock. The point is, in the film, Edison goes to such lengths to demonstrate that, as he did in life. He did a roadshow of death where he basically executed animals that were supposedly strays. He had gangs of people earning money by grouping up strays and also then stealing domesticated animals because they were earning money, and money drives everything, as we know in this sad world. But, this was a really, really despicable, fear-mongering piece of demagoguery, stuff that we sadly see today, which kind of makes it relevant in that regard to the current landscape. But it was really, really great for me to see that he designed the electric chair in order to discredit Westinghouse, because that was the source of current used for the electric chair. I had no idea about that part of the story.
I didn't know that part.
I was really, really, I was really disturbed by that. And this guy, he may be an out-and-out arsehole in how obsessed he gets, but I saw the humanity in him. I did some deep research into him. There's a lot written about him, unlike Westinghouse, who wasn't interested in his personal legacy. He wanted his work to leave the world a better place and for that to be his legacy. Edison was the Steve Jobs of his time. He was the self-promoting, he was the product as much as Steve Jobs was Apple. And in that, he'd worked from very humble beginnings, 7th of 7 children, ill a lot during childhood, self-taught at home, home-educated with his mum, but also through reading, and profoundly deaf through scarlet fever, series of ear infections, and an accident that happened on the railways that he worked on as a young lad. He started up a business between selling candy and newspapers and then working on the telegram, the early days of telegrams and telegraphs, and he just was an entrepreneur. He was an inventor at a very early age. He was fascinated, full of wonder with the world, but very, very hardworking, dogmatic, and obsessed. A needle in a haystack kind of a guy, not a subtle instrument. And I think at this point in the story, he feels threatened. He feels impinged by people trying to steal stuff that he feels he's rightfully marked out as his own. And Westinghouse could have been a great ally. He was a gentleman, industrialist who cared about his employees, who gave them a 5-day week. He kind of invented the weekend in Pittsburgh, where he was based. And Edison misread him as another J.P. Morgan, a big money bags who just cared about profit and nothing else. Yeah. And actually he cared about people, this guy Westinghouse. And so together they could have been great. But he was a belligerent man, as I said. He had a tough start, Edison, and had worked really hard to get where he got and didn't trust many people. And he misread the situation, and this ugly, fear-driven thing just, escalated out of that.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah. But in amongst it, these people did create the incandescent light bulb, the electric current, the distribution of it. The phonograph, I mean, all of this, microphone, the ability to record a voice.
What
that
we're
was
doing
the first
right now.
done by Thomas Edison.
This
The light, everything we take for granted, the screen. So that camera, he invented early technology to do with the motion picture industry, which he patented for a long, long time, to such a stranglehold, again, in his protectionist way, fencing off his own and being really kind of...
Yeah, what was that part about?
Well, I think just like I said, the driving the influence of his character, his profound difficulty with hearing, and his sort of blinkered approach to things. He collaborated with the first ever R&D department, research and development. Menlo Park was the original kind of base and experimentation lab where he did collaborate. He worked people to the bone, but they loved him because of the excitement of it. Going from like having a light bulb that only lasted 10 minutes, what use is that going to be to the world? When it glowed for 13 and a half hours, he realized then that was the world changed for good. And just the excitement around that, the magic of it, And I think slightly drunk on his own success, I think all those things fed into his authority. And also he started to believe the press that he was the Wizard of Menlo Park, the greatest inventor of all time. All these accolades he got in his lifetime. So yeah, fame could do bad things to you.
It could hurt you, man. George, in the Westinghouse, did he die broke?
No, that was
Tesla.
Tesla.
They both did.
Tesla.
Tesla more infamously died broke in a hotel room here in New York. Yeah. The problem with Tesla is he was someone who... He was a prophet. He saw 100 years into the future, whereas Westinghouse and Edison a mere 10, which was still pretty amazing.
10 years, pretty good.
So that's pretty good. I mean, I'd like that skill, but this guy was thinking about wireless technology in the late 1800s. Tesla, that is.
Yeah.
He said, "Why are you obsessed with the generation of electricity and the thing at the other end? What about the wires? Let's get rid of them. Wireless, amazing."
In the 1800s.
Yeah, man. In the early 1900s, late 1800s. Wow. This guy was a true visionary.
What made you want to do this part?
Everything I've just talked about. I mean, I find that intriguing. This guy is difficult. He's a known American icon, so that's quite a heady thing to tackle. It first came to me a long time ago, and the history of the film is slightly complicated. But even as a project in itself,
we got shelved, right?
It was. Get on to that. But it's just as my interest goes. I kind of at the beginning, I just thought, okay, this is a tough ask for an English actor to bring Edison to life. And the story just amazed me. Like, these were the rock and roll stars of their day. These were idols and icons of their industry. And they were giving people the Promethean magic, the thing we take for granted, like creating day out of night, just flicking a switch and just the altercation in human history and what that meant. And I found that just amazing. And to bring that to life, not as a history lesson, not as a period drama, but as something that truly held the excitement of that. I thought that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of whetted my appetite. And he's a complex character, and I don't shy away from that. I like a bit of complexity. You know?
It's good seeing you in this role because I'm used to seeing you in these big productions with, with
CGI
and all these
green
gigantic
screens.
green screens, effects, and all these different things happening.
Dragons and cloaks and all that.
Exactly.
Stuff.
But
Yeah.
I know you shot this a while back, but is that a necessary transition when you play characters?
Listen, I'm so lucky I live in a universe where I get the opportunity to swap cloak for wig or whatever it may be, you know,
Okay.
and I get to move between, you know, the budgets of the sort of megaliths of modern cinema culture, the Marvel franchise, and then also to make and curate and produce as well, you know, films that have a cultural import on a lower intensity, a lower bandwidth, but are still really important stories. And hopefully with an audience that might be intrigued in my work from Strange, bring that audience to a fresh topic or a different way of making films. Who knows if that works, but I'm really lucky to have that gig where I can do both things. You know?
He's an executive producer with Martin Scorsese. Heather. You know what I mean, Heather? This is
Different.
Yeah, I see that. I
You
see that.
See what he's doing right here? You know, what was that intent? Yeah.
I want these things. I want these
You know.
these applause buttons and these girl things. I love it.
Yeah, girl.
Do you
great.
back up and let him do his thing, or how often did y'all
Martin
consult?
has become an amazing support of this film through his relationship with the director, Alfonso Gomez Orejon, a really talented Mexican genius, really. Miel on the Dying Girl, beautiful paean to cinema itself, but just a beautifully crafted rom-com, which really deep heart and a teenage adult, whatever you want to call the genre of it. He kind of bust the genre thing with that film. He was so cool, and it was so cool. And he came from working with Thelma Schumacher, Martin Scorsese's editor, and being Martin's assistant for a long, long time. So Martin championed this film. He had a hand in it early on. He helped salvage it from the wreck that an unmentionable person to do with it was there in the background. And we know what that guy was getting up to a little bit more now in private, but in public he was a wrecking ball often with productions, and took this film of Alfonso's and just caused havoc with it. And the great thing I'm here to support and be so proud to be a part of is Alfonso's vision coming to our screen, as it should have been in the first instance. This is why this was this delay, you know, to get the reshoot done, to get it re-edited, to take it out of the hands and the legal battles and everything else that ensued with that story breaking and that man being, you know,
You don't
put
want to say
aside.
his name.
I don't really. No,
Okay,
it's like
alright.
it's fucking, you know, it's like, you know,
Kind of your mind if I say it.
it's that guy in Harry Potter. It's like that. You don't want to mention his name.
Thou shall not be named.
Seriously, he doesn't deserve airtime. So let's just
there you
avoid
go.
that.
Let's
bit,
keep it
but, you know.
moving then. All right.
And the point is that, you know, it is his vision that we've got now, and it really holds together. It's a super smart movie. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's riveting, and it's got such a pace and beautiful looking film as well. And you know, that's Martin and Thelma supporting it, and Alfonso having his vision, and I'm super proud to be a part of that. So no, to answer your question, I don't get in the way of Martin Scorsese on any front, and who would, you know? He's a genius. So.
That's Martin Scorsese. Come on, man. Benedict Cumberbatch is here. Before you go,
Yeah.
we prepared a game for you.
Oh.
And this guy over here, right here, the one who, this dude, he got a poster of you in his bathroom.
Not in the bathroom. Come on.
Yeah, you know.
That's
in
some
the
love.
bedroom,
That's some
Sway.
love. Oh wow, even higher love.
Anytime we have somebody from the Marvel universe, I like to prepare something special, and so I brought dun dun dun.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And this game is called
Well, you
Snap.
gotta say what it is, DB. For the
Oh yeah,
listeners.
sorry. For people who can't see, this
Okay.
is the Infinity Gauntlet, but the
But
Iron
the
Man
Iron
edition.
Man Infinity, exactly, a very important detail.
There you
know.
go.
Wow.
And the game is called Snap Decisions.
Right.
So what-
Okay.
In the war against Thanos, there was only one outcome. We're going to give you some questions,
Whose voice
and
is
you
this?
have to make one choice.
Some God's
This
voice.
is Snap Decisions, right now, on Sway in the morning.
All right, here we go, Benedict.
Okay.
All right. So you're
glove
gonna
is
put the
sort of-
glove on,
I gotta put it on. Okay.
and you'll find there's a way to articulate the fingers. There's little like things you can hold on to. There you go.
Bong.
Okay. So in the same way that Thanos snaps his fingers, you have to
This is
snap.
not going to destroy me. Is his power
You're
too
safe.
great for a human to bear?
You're-
That's the
you're
problem,
safe.
right?
You- yeah.
You're gonna disappear if you snap him.
It's gonna burn me.
Yeah, right.
All right,
Turn
cool.
it to dust. Okay, here's the
Fire
first.
starts to burn.
Poor Iron
one.
Man.
I'm gonna give you a question, and you have to snap away one of the answers.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. So the first question is: Doctor Strange finds himself up against the Justice League, but you can only dust one of their heroes. Will it be Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg, or The Flash?
Oh God, Superman maybe.
He's gone.
There you go. That's a
I
good
don't
choice.
know.
Superman is probably like the one you want to get rid of.
Why is that, man? Why Superman?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's an alien, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are any others aliens? I think he's
yeah.
an alien, so they can be a bit, I've
Tricky
had some
to-
dealings with aliens in the Marvel universe.
you go.
You've got to watch your back with them guys. And,
They're untrustworthy.
I think that's the thing, Aquaman is like, ooh, what? I could just sort of fly around him and confuse him a bit, But, yeah.
And you both got capes. Okay.
We both got capes. So,
All right, fans of the
Let's
MCU
get rid of. Well, not mine is a cloak. His is a mere cape. Mine is a cloak.
Difference, Steve.
Forgive me.
Cloak.
Cloak.
Fans,
Cloaking it.
Cloak, which
fans
means
of
basically
the
weighs like a
Avengers were left
tapestry.
sad
Yes.
after seeing the deaths of so many heroes. You can bring back one of your comrades.
Oh,
Will it
what? Oh, this is not fair.
be? Will it be Black Widow,
Oh, for God's sake.
Gamora, Iron Man, or Vision?
I mean, Zoe's a friend.
Nebula?
Robert's a friend. Scott's a friend. They're all friends.
Who could use the money?
I think Robert's okay.
Okay. He'll be all right.
He's going to be okay for a while. Yeah. It'll be a while before we see him,
A couple lifetimes.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. Paul Bettany, Vision.
There we go. All right.
Nice.
Got one more.
One more question.
I'd not say the Paul is the poorest. That became a really weird criteria.
Yeah, well, we
to
applauded
choose.
that.
Oh, man.
Back with those claps.
All right, last question. Doctor Strange needs a theme song, but which tune do you not want?
This is a more friendly question. Here we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Okay, this I'm going to enjoy.
The Doors.
This is what I don't want or I do want.
The one you don't want. So I'm
Okay,
going to give
cool.
you choices and pick which one you do not
for it.
want as your
Go for
theme
it.
song.
I'm listening.
The Doors, People Are Strange. Robin Thicke, Magic. Screamin' Jay Hawkins, I Put a Spell on You. Or the Rolling Stones, Time Is on My Side.
I love Time Is on My Side. I think it's got to be Thick Dick, whatever his name is.
Dick.
Robin Thicke. That's
Robin
it.
Thicke. Dick.
That's his alter ego is
See?
Big
See?
Dick.
Look at that shit.
He snapped it away.
When he snapped the dick away?
Yeah. Clickety click.
I think we both suffered from our surnames in our time at
Dusty the
preschool. I'm allowed to have a go. I'm sure he can have many Cumberbatch comebacks. I mean,
Okay.
Christ, that name is a playground for anyone with an infantile imagination. So.
Oh, man.
Did you deal with that as a kid, though, Cumberbatch?
Oh yeah,
They were killing you as a kid?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but I mean, I've got the uppers. That is the best one ever was Bendy Dick, Come on My Baps, if I can say that. On yeah, I mean, it's wrong, but I didn't say it. But that sort of more sort of 4-year-old versions like Cucumber Patch and all that crap. Benadryl, Cumberlumber, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
There's a lot. There's a
You
lot
never
going
really
on.
thought about these things.
I'm 43. I've been called everything under the sun, and my skin is thick. But
Okay.
it's
Thick dick, huh?
wow. Yeah,
Thick
going back
dick
to.
skin. I ain't mad at
You
that.
like Eggs Benedict though, right? You get that at brunch.
Yeah, I love Eggs Benedict.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Eggs Benedict? Yeah.
The whole Benedict Arnold thing.
Benedict Arnold. What's that?
You
I
don't
know
know
Arnold
Benedict?
Palmer. What's a Benedict Arnold?
Benedict
An egg
Arnold.
and lemonade? What's that?
No. Give it up for Benedict Cumberbatch, ladies and gentlemen.
Feeling the love.
The movie.
Gotta remove the device.
The current war in theaters this Friday, bro. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show
Likewise,
today.
thank you guys
Please
very
come
much
back.
for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank
man.
you.
Black